Hello, my name is Jeffrey Willman. On behalf of the Yankee Air Force Museum, I will be conducting an interview with World War II veteran Steve J. Manzio. Today's date is October 28, 2016, and the interview is being conducted at the Yankee Air Force Museum located in Belleville, Michigan. Steve, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm here.
Well, that's good, and we're glad to have you here. Can you tell me where and when you were born?
I was born in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Ann Arbor, Michigan?
August 31st, 1924.
And were you born at home or?
No, and yeah, that's right. I was born at home. Yeah.
Okay. Who were your parents? Who was your father?
Well, I don't know the reason. My mother was in the hospital, so I don't know. My father was out on a job. He used to do construction work, and he was away from home a lot.
Okay.
So my mother was home alone with me, and my brother and sister were in school. I was the youngest one. And when I was born, she called a neighbor lady over, help her out.
What was your dad's name?
Pardon?
What was your dad's name?
John.
And what did John do for a living?
My dad, well, he did a lot of cement work. He was a cement finisher. He was a real good worker, too. He had a good reputation.
Okay. And what was your mom's name?
Catherine.
And what did Catherine do?
Catherine was a homemaker.
Who were your siblings? How many brothers and sisters did you have?
Well, I had one brother and a sister.
Was your brother older or younger? Was your brother older or younger?
He was older than me, 2 years.
And where was your sister? Was she younger?
She was older than my brother.
Okay, so you were the baby.
Yeah.
Did your brother serve in the service at all?
Yeah.
And what did he do?
He was out at West Point. I don't know what he was, they had a detachment, Army detachment at West Point, and that's where he was. That's where he spent the war.
Do you remember what he did there?
I don't know. I'm more or less guard duty and stuff like that.
So he was enlisted?
Pardon?
He was enlisted?
Well, he was in service. He was drafted in the service, and then after he took some kind of test, he was sent to West Point.
But he wasn't an officer? He was enlisted?
No, he was just an Army soldier.
And what were your sister's name?
I had, my sister was Julie, and yeah, that's all we had.
And what did your sister do?
She was more like a secretary or something. I don't know. I didn't know too much because we were moving around quite a bit. Pretty hard to get the family together, you know.
Okay. So where exactly were you when the war started? Do you remember?
I was working tool and die.
No, when the war started, where were you? Were you in school?
Pardon?
Were you in school when the war started?
I'm not getting you.
When the war started,
Yeah.
Were you in school?
I wasn't, when the war started, I wasn't old enough. I was waiting for my turn.
So you were in high school?
Yeah.
Wilbur Wright High School
Wilbur Wright.
in Detroit?
Tool and die, yeah, it was tool and die work, yeah.
Okay. And you hitchhiked down to the recruiting station to sign up after you graduated?
After I graduated, I got a job. I was working tool and die work.
That's when you came back?
And then I enlisted in service.
Okay. So you went to the recruiter's office and they told you you were too young, right?
Yeah.
So what?
After I come back from the war, I stopped in for a drink in New York, And the waitress asked me for my ID, and I said, just bring me a Coca-Cola. I wasn't old enough. I was still 20 years old after I flew my 35 missions.
Okay, so you went to the recruiter's office. They told you were too young, and you had to go back home until your birthday when you were 18, right?
Yeah.
And then you went back and you signed up. Why did you pick the Air Corps?
I don't know. I like airplanes and stuff like that.
Did you ever fly before?
I never flew before. I got a ride. I like it.
Okay. So you enlisted, right? You weren't drafted?
Yeah, I was listening.
And you've never flown before and you wanted to fly. You never flew before and you wanted to fly. When you departed for boot camp, were you able to say goodbye to your mom and dad?
Did I what?
When you went to boot camp, were you able to say goodbye to your mom and your dad?
No, when I went, I was just went, and that's it.
Okay.
I mean, nobody else came with me. I just went alone where I was supposed to be, and that's it. No big deal.
So your dad didn't say good luck at the house?
He didn't do what?
Did your dad tell you good luck at the house before you left?
Yeah. He wasn't much of a talker. It was all right. I had a lot of respect for my dad. He was a good hard worker and stayed out of trouble. Pretty hard to do. Him and his mother had different agreements. So.
And what did your mom do when you said goodbye?
When I what?
When you said goodbye to your mom, what did she say?
Well, I'm not sure how you meant that.
When you said goodbye before you went to the military?
Oh, goodbye. Oh, yeah. Well, she cried. Yeah. I gave her a big hug and a kiss, and she cried.
When you went to boot camp and started taking your training, where did they send you to first? Do you remember?
Down in Florida.
No, before that.
Yeah.
You told me you had to go to the University of Tennessee?
Oh, I had some training. Yeah, I had some university training. Let's see, where was Valdosta? No, wait a minute. Valdosta.
Tennessee? I think you said you went to the University of Tennessee.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And you did 2 years of
that
school?
That was for a month or two, or a couple of months, yeah.
I think you said you went for 6 months and did 2 years of school in 6 months, right?
Boy, my memory must be, if you got it written down, my memory must be going bad.
No, I'm just trying to help you. You're doing a great job. So you went down there and earned your associate's degree in 6 months, right? Yeah. And then after the University of Tennessee, where did you go?
That's where I went to, it must have been Florida, flying the biplanes.
And you flew the PT-17?
The number, all I remember was a biplane, and then we went to single wing in Georgia, Valdosta, Georgia, and from there I went to, where did I get my advanced training?
Well, I have that here. We can talk about that in a second. When you were in Florida, do you remember where in Florida you were at? Was it Arcadia?
Yeah.
And what kind of flight school was that?
We were flying the bi-wing. Gee whiz, don't tell me I'm forgetting that too. I can't remember offhand.
That's okay. The flight school you went to was not a military base, was it?
No. Well, we had, even at University of Tennessee, had a little bit of some kind of a training. They'd kick in, like, And all along, there was a lot of ground school.
But wasn't Arcadia just a hotel or a motel out in the middle of nowhere with a landing strip?
Flying the biplanes. Was it motel? They had to have quarters there for us to stay because...
Right. I think what you told me was that it was a motel and that they had the training school right there and they had a strip. And you guys would fly PT-17 Stearmans.
PT-17, I remember that, yeah.
And you got into a dogfight with one of your instructors down there?
Oh!
Can you tell us about that?
Which one was that now? Oh, dogfight, yeah.
What happened?
Come back and I said, boy, some guy's doing a pretty good job flying there, you know. I had a rough time with him. I didn't know it was him.
So after you went to Arcadia, you went to...
Bainbridge, Georgia.
Right. And what'd you go there for?
I played a B-13 or something, 13A or 15. Yeah.
Was that for group training?
That was, they call it the basic training.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I went to, where the heck was it, Florida for advanced training. Let's see, where was it?
I think after Bainbridge you went to Valdosta.
Valdosta, yeah.
And you did ground school there?
Yeah.
Okay. So after you got all your training and while you were there getting your training, how do you think you adapted to the military life?
How did I think you what?
You adapted to military life.
So. I mean, I figured that I wouldn't stay in. I'll just try to do my duty, my time, and get out, and that's it. Find something to do.
How were the barracks? Everywhere you went, how was the barracks?
How was the what?
Your room and board, your food and your lodging, how were they?
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, no complaints. I didn't expect much. I didn't live... When I was a little kid, we didn't have very fancy living quarters either. So there was no big sacrifice for me.
How did you get along with the other guys?
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, real good.
What would you do on your off time?
If I could find a golf course, I'd play golf. You can see that picture? That's from, oh, that was from bowling, that's right. We used to bowl 20 games in a row.
Wow.
Yeah.
So after all your training was done and you were commissioned and you're ready to go, where did you serve during the war?
Where did I serve? Well, let's see, Florida. Let's see, Georgia, Bainbridge, Georgia. Let's see, what was that air base? Moody Field. Yeah, Moody Field. And advanced training. Boy, I can't. That's hard. I wish I would have been warned, but advanced was. Damn, I can't remember.
That's okay. When you went overseas, where did you go?
Went right to England.
Right to England. How did you get there?
Went over on a ship.
On a ship?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were a B-24 co-pilot. You told me that you guys flew nonstop from New York to UK when you went over to England. So I don't know if that's right or wrong. It says here that you flew for the 8th Air Force, 2nd Air Division, 790th Bomb Squadron. Yeah. You were Crew 73 out of Rackheath Airfield in Norwich, England. Quite a title. Did you remember all of it?
Pardon?
Did you remember all of it?
Well, I don't know why I remember stuff like that. Some of these places that I had been and flown and all that. I don't know, it's just out of my mind now. Pretty hard to think.
So before we talk...
Like I remember Valdosta, Georgia, I remember that real well, basic training. And then the advanced training. Where the heck was I? I'm trying to think. Yeah. Wow, I can't believe that, stuff like that.
When you were in England, what famous person did you meet over there?
Well, the Queen of England and the Princess.
Princess Margaret. Where were you when you met them?
I was in the British Officers Club.
And was that exciting?
Huh?
Was that exciting to meet the Queen?
I got a kick out of it, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, after I was introduced to Queen Mother, I got introduced to the daughter, you know, and after I got Hi Princess, you know, and she got a kick out of it. You Americans are all like.
That's funny. So you flew 35 bombing missions in the B-24 over in Europe.
I was a co-pilot.
Co-pilot. Do you have good memories of the B-24?
Hell, I mean, it was a job flying it, and I didn't think I had any trouble with it, you know. I was thinking I'd like to fly a P-38 or something like that, but that's where I was assigned, and well, the way I was ordered to do something. I'd try to do the best I could.
How many missions would you guys fly in a day?
Well, we only fly one mission.
Why was that? Why would you only fly one?
You mean only one mission a day? Well, by the time we left England and flew over to Germany, dropped the bombs and come back, it was a good day. We get up at 5:30 in the morning, have breakfast and all that, and check the plane out, and then finally take off. That's a long trip, going to Germany and back.
Did you ever refuse a flight?
Never. If I was assigned to something, I went, and that was it.
So you guys would get up at 5 a.m., do your in-brief, check out your aircraft, have breakfast, and then you would take off?
Yeah, well, we get up at 5 a.m., you have breakfast, and go through a good briefing, and then go to your plane, check it out.
When you guys got up in the air, how did you form up?
Yeah, what?
When you guys would take off and you'd fly in a group, how would you form up into your formation?
Oh, I don't know. That was all arranged beforehand. You know, well, I usually flew on a lead cruise ship. Either wing, either the second or third.
So you flew deputy lead?
Deputy.
So you guys would take off?
Either that or fly in a close position. I was always near the front, yeah.
So when you took off, you would circle and wait for everybody else to get in the air to join up?
Oh yeah, you had to keep circling around until everybody got up in place.
Now, what did you guys wear when you flew the aircraft? What kind of flight suits did you have?
Flight outfit? You mean the clothes?
Yes.
I don't know, just clothes that you're about to wear. I mean, you didn't have a complete outfit or anything, but put a heavy jacket on and stuff. And you had some kind of a heat in a plane, not nothing to brag about, but that's it. I mean,
could you plug the suits in to warm them up?
A what?
Could you plug your suits in to warm them up? Were they electric?
Oh, yeah, we had some kind of electric stuff, yeah, because we didn't bundle up a hell of a lot, so Electric. I can remember something electric.
So when would you have to use oxygen?
Oh, usually around 20,000 feet. We'd fly about 25,000.
Now, you and your pilot, how would you guys fly the plane? Would you fly it together?
Half hour, every half hour.
Every half hour you'd
Yeah.
take turns? How would you guys take off once you had a load on your aircraft?
Take off what?
How would you guys take off in the plane if you had a full load? Was there anything you did special before the takeoff?
Well, you just get lined up in a line, that's all. Then you're pretty well they mentioned how what group is going to fly or what flight is going to fly first or what.
Okay. So when you were flying in formation after you took off and you got your nice electric suit on and your oxygen mask, what kind of formation did you guys fly in?
I don't know, I was always in right up by the lead ship.
Well, would you fly in a box, or what kind of pattern was it?
Try 3 planes, and then you have right, there'd be lead plane, then your second and the third plane on the left.
And what did you tell me about being in a tight formation? Why did you want to be in a tight formation?
Damn, I wish I...
Why did you want to be in a tight formation?
Well, the enemy fighters, they look and they see guys flying that close together, all those guns coming up there ain't gonna have a chance. They look for somebody you can peel off on and wipe them out. That's why it's never good to stray away from your group.
And what kind of caliber machine guns were on the aircraft?
50.
50?
50 caliber.
Were you ever attacked by enemy aircraft?
Any what?
Were you ever attacked by enemy aircraft?
How do you mean? What?
Did the Germans ever fire at you from planes?
Oh, yeah. You they fired. Once in a while they hit too. We were lucky. A lucky crew.
Did you ever encounter flak? Did you ever encounter flak?
Hey, all the time. All the time. Anytime you go up over the German territory, you got to figure you got to get it. That's it.
And how would you guys fly any differently if you encountered flak?
No. You stay with in your position. It's up to the lead ship. If they want to go a little faster or slower or make a turn, or just to keep your position, that's all.
Okay, so you're flying over to Germany. You're in the airplane for about 5 hours so far. If you had to use a bathroom, what would you do?
Well, actually, it's not too hard to see where you are or where you're going. Unless it's cloud cover, then you're in trouble.
If you had to use the restroom, what would you do?
If I had to use what?
Restroom.
Oh, I get the tube.
And then what?
Yeah, a peanut tube or something. I forget what they call it.
And what would you do with it after you got over Germany?
Have one on me.
So once you got over to your target, how did you guys know when to drop your bombs?
You let when you get that bomb released, the plane really goes up.
But how did you know to drop them? How did you know you had to drop your bombs?
I never had any trouble getting rid of them.
No. What I'm saying is, who dropped their bombs first?
Where we dropped them?
Yep.
Well, you don't know till you come back home and they take the cameras take pictures.
But if you're flying in formation, who drops first? Who drops the bombs first?
What do you mean? You drop the bombs, it's more or less automatic. As soon as the lead ship releases, everybody else follows.
Okay, so the lead ship drops the bombs, and then everybody else drops theirs.
Yeah, well, everybody else in the lead group, you got second and third groups too.
Okay. And then what would you do after you dropped your bombs?
Just head back to England. Just make one big turnaround and straight for England.
And when you were going back to England, when did you know you were in good air or safe area?
Sometimes they'd follow you right till you're ready to land.
Really?
Oh yeah, you had to watch out.
Did you ever have fighter escort?
Not very often.
When you did, what type of escort did you have?
P-51 escort. Yeah, they had P-38s, but mostly 51.
And would they follow you all the way to the target?
The planes, not usually, no. I don't know as far as their gas, how long their gas would hold out compared to ours or not, but I don't know. But they would follow us momentarily.
Did you guys have any food or water on the airplane?
Not really.
No.
If they had water, it'd be frozen. No, we were fed pretty good before we took off.
Now you flew 35 missions, and you flew in different aircraft. Why would you fly different B-24s?
How do you mean different than B-24s?
Well, let's say that you were flying the Witchcraft, and the next day you were flying a different aircraft. Why would that be?
Well, the colonel was very positive about that our crew had to fly that plane, period. I don't know why. Hell, I was only 20 years old. I wasn't old enough to have a beer after I flew all my missions.
But when you got up to go and do your mission, one day you might fly a different B-24 from the other. Do you remember why that would have been? Would it be that they were servicing the aircraft, or the aircraft was damaged from the day before?
I'm missing something.
You flew 35 missions, but they weren't all in the same airplane, right?
Oh, no.
And
no.
why is that?
Well, if you're starting on a certain plane, okay, you might fly a couple of missions, you might get a little flak damage. So then it's time to find the next mission that your plane is being under repair, so you take whatever they got left.
So you flew the Witchcraft, which had 130 missions, right?
Well, I don't know. It had a lot of missions, yeah.
It had most missions during the war.
Yeah.
And you were able to fly that aircraft.
Yeah, the colonel was very fussy about who was flying it.
And what happened one day when you lost an engine and had to drop out of your group? Do you remember?
I think the only time I can remember, I think it was after we dropped bombs. So we did the best we could to get back, that's all.
You were telling me that one time you were up and you lost an engine and you found another group and ended up with them?
Yeah.
And what did you do?
Oh, just followed behind them and got to England and just peeled off and went to our base, that's all.
And what did the colonel say to you after you landed? Because you dropped your bombs?
He was happy.
Yeah, why was he happy?
He didn't know that we had come back, because we separated from him after a while, you know. And when he found out, he come over, he was one big smile. Yeah, that felt good. Well, do the best you can. What the heck, you're saving your own life too.
How did you feel about witnessing the destruction that you caused by dropping bombs?
About what kind of instruction?
Destruction from dropping the bombs. Yes.
Well, we were blowing up airplane factories and stuff like that. We weren't dropping on civilian homes or anything. Anything to do with the war, well, they were a target.
How'd you feel about that?
Sooner we get over with it, sooner the better.
While you were over there, how did you communicate with your family back home?
B-mail or something, I forget what it was.
How often did you write?
Maybe a couple times a month or something.
Okay. Did you get a lot of letters from home?
No, just about as much as I sent.
What did you do? What did you do on your off time when you were over there in England?
Over in England? Well, one day I went to the British Officers Club and I met Queen Elizabeth and the Princess, and I was pretty lucky. I think I happened to accidentally pick the right day.
What else did you do while you were over there? Do you have any hobbies?
Oh, in England? Yeah. I can't think of it. Didn't have anything, you know, anything to work with.
You didn't golf?
Yeah, I got some golfing in, yeah.
Did you get any drinking?
Borrowed a beat up old set of clubs, you know. I didn't buy them. They had some in the station there, and I let you use them. Beat up used golf balls, and I just loved to play golf. That's all.
Did you do any drinking while you were over there?
What?
Any drinking?
Whoa. That was almost a silly question. Chug-a-lug.
Where were you when the war ended?
When the war ended, back home.
And how did you get back home?
Well, I flew into New York, and from there, I must have got, well, I don't know. I must have got a flight. So maybe I drove a car in. I forget, but I know I flew from England to New York.
So you had your 35 missions, you were done.
Yep.
Did you think about staying in the Air Force?
I figured I did my share, and I'll see how things go. No, I didn't have any dreams of staying in. I just wanted to get my 35 in, and I'm all through, and that's it.
And what was your rank when you came back home?
First lieutenant.
And didn't somebody tell you that if you stayed in for a little while, you could be a captain?
Oh, yeah. I said, I want out.
I thought you said if you could fly a fighter, you might stay in.
Well, that was one thing I wanted to fly the P-51.
And when they told you you couldn't fly?
Well, it was no big disappointment. I was happy to be all done with it, go home.
And how'd you get your first job in Tool and Die? How'd you get your first job?
Okay. Yeah, I got into it, and I liked it, Tool and Die work.
Did you go around knocking on doors until you got a job?
Yeah, well, you have to. You know, just drive over to some Tool and Die shop, or manufacturing or whatever. I tried one time, just for the heck of it, work on the assembly line. I didn't like it. I got out of there in a hurry.
Did you remain in contact with any of your service buddies?
Not really.
Why was that?
You mean you're contact with service people, or what?
Like your crew, your mechanics, everybody that you met over in England?
Oh, no.
Most of them lived...
all I did is just try to earn a living, and that's it.
Didn't you say most of them lived down south? Didn't you say most of them lived down south?
Most of the what was down south?
Most of your former military friends were down south?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So many, I don't know why it was that way, but very, very few from up north.
Did you ever belong to any veterans organizations?
I know I had to belong to some, but it's been quite a while, though.
I think it was a VFW, you told me.
Yeah, oh yeah. Better than the foreign wars, yeah.
And didn't you go to a reunion in England at one time? Didn't you go to England for a reunion?
Did I ever go back? No.
Yes.
No.
Okay. How did the wartime experience affect your life?
Well, it was just delayed getting married, stuff like that. That's all. But any other way, not that it didn't bother me physically or mentally. So the war's over, behind me, and here I had a family. I had 5 kids. The heck with everything else.
So you didn't have any nightmares or any?
Nope.
Do you think your loss of hearing is due to the fact that you flew all those missions?
Boy, you got 4 loud engines, and oh man.
Did you make a trip to Florida to see the B-24 down there?
I've been there, yeah.
What'd you think of it after you saw it after 30, 40 years?
Well, I give it a nice little pat.
What are some life lessons that you learned from the military?
What?
What are some life lessons that you learned from the military?
Oh, military? Oh boy. Try to be on time and watch out what you eat. Get plenty of rest, you know, stuff like that.
Keep your nose clean?
Pardon?
Keep your nose clean?
Yeah. I had no problems.
How has your military service impacted your feelings on war?
Not really. Not much.
No?
No, I got back into working again, and it seemed like inside of a week I was back to normal.
I thought you told me that too many idiots up front or on top starting the wars was an issue.
What was that again?
I thought you told me that there were too many idiots up front or on top who were starting the wars.
Oh, yeah. Ridiculous.
What message would you like to leave for future generations who will hear this and see it?
What?
What do you want to tell the future generations who are going to see this video? What message would you tell them?
Well, work, get a job, have a family, and if you have to, go in the service. Otherwise, if there's no problems or anything, you live the life you want to live.
And what would you tell them about their country? What would you tell them about their country?
Oh, our country? Can't beat it. Number one.
What would you like to see us never do again? What would you like to see us never do again?
What would I like to see if what?
What would you like to see this country never be involved with again?
Oh, yeah. I think we got a lot of stuff coming on pretty soon that we don't like. I don't know, some of these other countries, I was surprised that, you know, they're treating us the way they do.
But you want us to stay out of war, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's no way to settle anything. Kill a lot of people and waste a lot of, nothing but a big waste of lives and all that armaments and all that could be used for a better purpose.
Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you would like to say about your experience?
Well, all I can say is I hope that the leaders have better control of, you know, not being so aggravated with each other in different countries. Yeah. Too many hot shots floating around. Got a mind of their own.
When you were flying that B-24 and you were over the English Channel, what was it like to look out in that sky and see that beautiful ground in front of you?
Oh, England? You mean England during the war?
Right.
Oh. I'll tell you, in the cockpit in a B-24, you can't see a heck of a lot out, really. But look out, well, most of the time we were up too high to see anything worthwhile anyway. Never flew real low. Yeah.
Well, what was it like?
Usually we take off there and we're going right on up.
What was it like being in the clouds? 18 years old. What was it like being
I think I've had my share. I've been a lot, like I say, when I talk about meeting the Queen of England and stuff like that, and, who are you trying to kid? I said, heck no, I wasn't trying to kid her. Geez, I was only, what, 19, 20 years old. Yeah.
And the story of when you came back to New York and they wouldn't serve you at the bar, can you tell that one more time? The Coke story, when you got the Coke?
Oh, well, the first thing it is, how old are you, Lieutenant? Because I looked pretty young, and they didn't want to serve me unless I was 21. They'd say, how old are you, Lieutenant? I said, oh, bring me Coca-Cola.
35 missions and you couldn't even get a drink.
I know. Yeah.
Well, this concludes our interview, Steve. I want to thank you on behalf of myself,
Okay.
my wife, and my children for everything that you did during the war.
Well,
Because this country wouldn't be what it is.
I had a family too.
And I'm grateful for what you did. And
Yeah. There's no doubt I wouldn't hesitate to help my country. I wish some of these leaders were bad lately, though. I'm starting to get worried.
well, thank you very much, sir.
Okay.